Hello and welcome to DFS Coach Talk. Today is Thursday, March 18th. I am Joe Sarvati, affectionately known as Coach, and I am here to discuss a very nice six-game NBA slate for this evening. And great to see everybody today. I'm sporting the DFS Coach Talk hoodie. We have a competition this weekend for our members. So for the members out there, you get a green one of these if you win it. We've got some shirts and hats and different things also available, plus bragging rights. So if you're not a member, come in and join us at DFS Coach Talk. Just go to our website, dfscoachtalk.com. You can join for as little as a 3-day pass for $10. And we have all kinds of different memberships. We're going to be announcing a Major League Baseball membership that is a 7-month membership. That'll come out this weekend. So very excited about that. But we do have our BetUS offer, which is tremendous. It's if you deposit at betus.com.pa and use the promo code CoachTalk and make that first deposit of $149, you get a free membership with Coach Talk all the way until June 1st. Best deal we've had out there for sure. Get to hammer away at this NCAA tournament on BetUS, and you get a free ride here at Coach Talk all the way till June 1. So we'd love to have you. Great to see everybody today. We have definitely done the Will Ferrell we're going streaking here. In the last 10 days, we've had 8 solid winning days, some takedowns. This is the kind of stretches that we really get excited. So with no further ado, we want to dive into this 6-game slate because there are some interesting plays here, and there's certainly some information that we still need to know, and that's going to deter some of the decisions we make here. But let's dive right into it. It's a weird slate tonight. There's 3 early games and 3 late games with a big space in between. So the other thing that we've adopted here, because we've been so hot at it, is playing that after-hours Fanduel slate. So, be a nice 3-game after-hours slate tonight. So we want to dive into that also. All right, first game, 7 o'clock, Utah Jazz, 29-10 at the Washington Wizards, 14-25. Right now, the Jazz are a big 11.5-point favorite. The over-under is 235.5. And we thank our partners at betus.com.pa for these live lines. The twist here is Utah's on the first night of a back-to-back, and it's a double digit. So, definitely concern and worry that if they do get up a decent amount on the Wizards, that they would rest some guys and lose some minutes because they play again tomorrow night. So something we have to discuss further. In Washington, it's the second night of a back-to-back for them. They played hard last night. Westbrook was phenomenal down the stretch, but they played very hard, and now they have to have the wonderful prize of playing Utah after last night's game. As far as the pace goes here, Utah 17th, middle of the pack somewhat. Washington continues to be the fastest-paced team, and certainly, their games we focus on a lot. Defensively, Utah's 4th in the league, and Washington staying down toward the bottom at 27th. The only big piece of injury news right now is on Michael Conley. He is not playing in this game. This is going to be a rest game for him. The probable lineups right now for Utah are Mitchell, Ingles, Bogdanovich, O'Neal, and Gobert. And then we know, Clarkson gets a little extra bump when Conley's out as well. So their main rotation will be a go. Washington, we have no news yet on anybody sitting. We know the last couple of back-to-backs Westbrook has played after sitting out several back-to-backs early on in the season. So unless we get any further news, the projected lineup here is Westbrook, Beal, Garrison Matthews, Rui Hachimura, and Alex Len. And they, their rotation has been pretty consistent now with Raul Neto getting really good sound minutes, backup point guard minutes. and you're getting some run for Denny Advia and, Robin Lopez off the bench. So an interesting first game. I've got to say, of all the Washington games of late, this one scares me the most as far as both sides of it. I think that Utah, the way they've played, certainly could lay one on Washington. That's a concern. Both teams on one side of a back-to-back or another is definitely a concern as well. Now, defensively, Utah gets it done, but it is Westbrook and Beal. So, to me, the matchups are going to be tough. You're going to have some guys defending people here that could give them a little bit of trouble. But I actually like Bradley Beal here a little bit. He's sort of taken a back seat in like 2 of the last 3 or 3 of the last 4 games, actually, to Westbrook. Westbrook has been more dominant of a player. I just think this game sets up for Beal to score, and also he's going to have to get some of those periphery statistics to keep Washington in the game. So I do have a pay-up option here for Beal. It's not locked in yet because I'm still a little wary of this game, but that's the only direction I would go on the Washington side. On Utah, I've had a lot of success playing Utah when Conley is sitting. And that's generally because all of that usage that he has as far as game making and, dishing the ball, assist rate and everything else goes up, and minutes go up for the 2 guys that I'm considering here. And that's Clarkson and Ingles. They both, become playable. But, the guy that I want to mention even above them is Donovan Mitchell. Now, he's had some really flat games, and he can really disappoint. But this is against one of the worst defenses in the league. And when Conley's out, there is a lot of time Mitchell basically is the pseudo point guard. I mean, even though Clarkson's in there a lot, he'll play some, but he likes to spot up on the wings and knock those corner threes down also. So, Mitchell is the number one guy I'm looking at here. I wouldn't mind at all having a Mitchell-Beal duo in this first game, but there is risk involved. So this isn't just a cut and dry, I'm playing these 2 and moving on. But those are the 2 spots that I would go. Gobert's been really solid lately. There's a few other centers that I'm leaning to here, but he can put up consistent numbers. Really, the other ancillary guys I'm not going after. I've been riding the Rui Hachimura train here, and he's been great, but he has to probably get Royce O'Neal defense, which doesn't work out too well. And you guys know that listen to this show all the time that Alex Len is dead to me. And of course, it was funny. I flipped to that game a few times last night. And after he absolutely smoked all my lineups last week in that one game, he did nothing. He had a couple just like Dwight Howard, Shaq kind of dunks. I'm thinking, you dirty, rotten dog, you. Like he was flashing it in my chops, man. So Alex Len remains on my poo-poo list. How's that for cleaning it up for family entertainment here? But so that's game 1. And like I say, I definitely have a lean towards Mitchell and Beal here, but not in stone. All right, game 2, 7:30 Eastern. Half an hour later, it is the Oklahoma City Thunder at 17-23 against the Atlanta Hawks that are now 20-20. They have gone 4-0 with their interim coach. Nate McMillan is doing the job. Since they fired their coach, they have got this ball rolling. There is a ton of news in this game. So let's talk about that first. Atlanta's a 7-point favorite. It's a 225.5 over under. It's an island game for both teams, so we don't have to worry about that. Pace-wise is a concern. 14th for Oklahoma City and Atlanta 22nd. And it doesn't look like with the new coach in there, McMillan, that they're speeding it up all that much. I wanted to get a feel this first handful of games to see, what is he going to do? What is he going to institute here? and it's not really speeding up the game. It's trying to cut turnovers down, share the ball, and shoot the three. So, not really expecting that number to rise a whole lot for the Hawks on the pace side. Defensively, Oklahoma City is a very respectable 11th with basically a G League team. They do hustle out there. I mean, that coach is getting everything out of that team he possibly can. I mean, to be 17-23 with that team, and I mention it like once a week, but I don't know how they win. I mean, other than the Rockets, they, to me, have the least talented roster in the league, but more power to them as well. Atlanta's 19th defensively, and that was a big thorn in their side. They were in that mid-20s for quite a while, and that's the other thing I think McMillan is instilling here is defense, and they're definitely tightening the screws there. But here's all the news, and it makes this game almost a joke to even go through because it's just there's too much news here that we don't know that will completely affect the whole game. So I always hate when we have games that are just flooded with possible changes and moves, and we have 2 out of the 6 that are that way. But, it's going to come down to following the news throughout the day. You can follow us on Twitter, by the way, at DFS CoachTalk. I'm at Joe Sarvadi, JoeSarvadi. Andrew is at Language Olympic. Also, just, jump aboard and get in our Discord. That's where all of our members, we're like a bunch of hawks here spotting out the info. We'll get that up there in Discord so everybody can adjust. And those adjustments make a big difference, not just prior to games, but in games as the other ones are coming up and that news comes out. And our Discord is sharp as a tack as far as that goes. All right, Maladon and Dort are questionable. No idea if they're going to play. Also for and then Baisley is the guy I was thinking about. He's out. So you got a guy that's out, 2 questionable. And then the 2 bigs for Atlanta are both questionable. Of course, Capella, that changes the whole complexion of the game. And the rookie Okongwu is also questionable. So, with 5 Q tags in this game, we got to see what the deal is. I can't say I played Shea the other day, and he just looked a little flat. I know he goes in stretches, but I'll tell you who Atlanta's been playing a lot, and he's still a lockdown defender, and I think that's why he's been getting the real solid minutes, and that's Tony Snell. He is, if you watch him defensively, he jumps screens. His lateral movement is still great. He's been around a while, but I think he'll give Shea some trouble, and really don't have any interest in paying up to him. On the Atlanta side, this seems like a great spot for Trey. I mean, he's an Oklahoma guy, and I know he watched a lot of Thunder games as he went to OU, and he always gets a little more juice to play them. It's in Atlanta, not OKC, but still, it has an effect there. He gets all the paper, in Oklahoma is still all about Trae Young and how he does a lot of times. So, I think Trey's a good buy up in this game, and, he's in stretches. If this game stays close, it's a 7-point spread. I think that it sets up really for a nice game for them because especially if Dort doesn't play, because Dort will guard everybody, even Trae Young. So, that's a piece of news that we need to know. As far as the other guys, I know John Collins is a terrific play. If Capella sits, it's just a no-brainer. He gets all those extra rebounds, putbacks, just a lot more activity. So Collins is definitely going to be a player that will make my player pool if Capella's out. If Capella plays, though, I'm not going to go there whatsoever. Capella, Horford will be the Spider-Man versus Spider-Man type of guys, veterans that are really good defenders. So they'll eliminate each other if Capella plays. And really that's it. I have not been on the Pokachevsky bandwagon. And as far as this Moses Brown thing where he broke the slate the other day, it's all great, but Horford's playing. So, that definitely makes a tremendous difference for, his possibilities. So I'm not going to go there. I didn't go there the other day. I'm not going to go there now. You got to stick to your guns as far as some of these stand. So, all right, we move to game 3. The other early game, it's a 7:30 p.m. game. Orlando Magic 13-26. They have pretty much mailed it in now. The New York Knicks 20-21 have fallen below 500, even though they've gotten a lot of attention and buzz in the NBA circles. So they need to get going. This is the kind of game that they absolutely have to win. I think they'll approach it that way. They're only a 5-point favorite against Orlando, who's really been struggling. And we've got one of the lower totals we've had in quite some time. And it's way the lowest total on the slate, 207. That's it. So not great. And here's why. You've got Orlando, the 19th pace, the Knicks, the 30th pace, slowest team in the league. They're definitely going to grind. They do that every game. Defensively, Orlando's 18th. The Knicks are 5th. So they're in that top 5. Also, this is the other injury-riddled game. For Orlando, we have Fournier questionable and Gordon questionable. So that creates a big issue there. And Ross questionable. So when you're talking about 3 starters questionable, how the heck are you supposed to determine a game? So that's a big problem. And then on the Knicks side, we've got all these dinged up guards still. Derrick Rose remains out, and we have Peyton with a doubtful tag and our man Quickly with a questionable tag. So good Lord. I mean, we may be down to having to actually consider Ntilikina, which those words are very, in fact, I got to take a drink of coffee. I threw up in my mouth a little bit just saying that. But, you never know. We may have to plug them in there. But a couple things, real quickly, I don't want to waste time on this game because the game sucks. It's great defense, slow pace, a lot of possible injuries. If a bunch of these guys sit out, we do have to look at the minutes allocation because we know the Tibbs plays his guys a ton. So, if all of that usage goes, I guess you can briefly look at a Randall. You can briefly look at a Vukovic as the 2 pay-up options here. And then, after that, there are some more that potential. Right now I'm passing this game, but these are potential guys based on if the guys we all mentioned are out. And that's RJ Baird, who's played well lately. And on the other side of the ball, I think it's worth a mention for Michael Carter Williams also, because especially depending on the thin backcourt of the Knicks. So that's all I want to waste on that game. It is a bad game. So that's the early 3 games. Now we go to the late 3 games. And the first one is a 10 p.m. Eastern. Minnesota Timberwolves at 9-31. Phoenix at 26-12. Amazing. So, blowout potential in Phoenix, double digits, -11 for Phoenix. Minnesota has not looked good. 231.5, which is the second highest total or third highest total on the board. That's not a bad number. And then we still have McLaughlin out for Minnesota and D'Angelo Russell still out. So Ricky Rubio did great for us the other night. He and Jalen Noel will get all of those point guard minutes. Culver is doubtful, even though he's not good anyway. Cam Johnson is out. So that affects things a bit. And Nader, who's been getting decent minutes off the bench, is questionable. Probable lineups for this one for Minnesota: Rubio, Edwards, Layman, Vanderbilt, and Towns. For Phoenix, it's Paul Booker, Bridges, Crowder, and Ayton. And, part of the success of Phoenix is they have stayed healthy and they've stayed out of the protocol, COVID protocol. So Anyway, this game, there's some interesting spots here. Rubio's still playable. Anthony Edwards has decided wants to be back in that first team all rookie race, and he's been playing good ball. The problem is Phoenix is so good defensively. Phoenix right now defensively is 8th, which is terrific. Minnesota is 26th. You've got pace-wise, Minnesota 4th, Phoenix 2nd slowest. So they're going to grind you to death also. But major pace up game for Phoenix, not that most of them aren't, but this is pretty way up. So, Rubio at his price, Edwards still, I think reasonable. Not the game I want to pay all the way up for Cat, just because of the pace and the potential blowout. I think it's too risky. On the Phoenix side, same dilemma as always, the Paul Booker 8 and share and how that's all going to roll out. I do like Booker here, though. He isn't overpriced. He's been hot. He's playing well. I don't like the defensive matchups for Minnesota against Booker. He is definitely the guy that I'm looking at on Phoenix. I think Chris Paul, if the game stays close enough, is also a decent option. And that's really the two guys that I'm considering. But again, there is risk involved with that game because it is one of the bigger blowout potentials on the card. All right, game 5. We've got the New Orleans Pelicans and the Portland Trailblazers. Portland favored by 1, so we're looking for a ding-dong battle. And they're right now a half a point away from hitting that magic 240 number, which is double magic. It's 239.5. So very interesting. And here's the part that's interesting. Now, you got to love the fact that their defensive rating is 28th and 29th. So we've got 2 of the worst 3 teams defensively in the entire league playing in this game. So it's, eyes lighting up for players on both sides of the ball. But what's not exciting is they're 16th and 20th in pace, which is very unusual for, teams that are usually that defensively challenged. Usually they're playing more of an up pace that plays into that as well, but it's not quite the case here. What I will say, though, is New Orleans, this is an island game for them. Portland is on the first night of a back-to-back. So, that is something to consider also. I didn't mention the last game, by the way. Minnesota and Phoenix, they play tonight and they play each other tomorrow night. So that's why I didn't mention it, even though they're both on the first night of a back-to-back. It's against each other. So no advantage to be found there. But in this game, with Portland having the first night of a back-to-back, and they play the Mavericks tomorrow, which is a good opponent. Will that affect Portland if they can get up in this game? Certainly. But as of now, this game looks like it's going to be a barn burner with a 1-point spread. Good health for these teams coming into this game, which is very seldom. These last 2 games don't have any injury distinctions. There are some probables, but I don't even consider that a distinction. If you're questionable or doubtful or out, that means something to me. But this LeBron James probable thing is just such a joke that he's been probable every single game and played. I just refuse to even waste my time mentioning them because I don't know what the point these teams are or why the NBA is allowing it. But, I guess we're all probable from day to day. We're expecting to make it through, but there's no guarantees. If you want to look at it that melancholy and, whatever, but it agitates me. So, anyway, let's get back to this game. The probable lineups for the Pelicans, it's normal lineups: Ball, Bledsoe, Ingram, Williamson, and Adams. And Portland has Lillard, McCollum, who's back now, and he's played a few games, looking great. Derek Jones, Covington, and Cantor. This should be a great game. I think this is my favorite game on the slate. I'm going to definitely have exposure in this game. The pace doesn't scare me that much. I think that they'll both have just a plethora of opportunities here. Let me start out with, I like Lonzo Ball tonight. I think he's a fine play. He's definitely on my list. And I also like Dame on the other side. And, CJ is a question. I like him. I don't think he's ready for any of these down of the stretch 38-minute games that he and Lillard play sometimes. But I do think he'll play in the 30s. I mean, he shows that he's ready and he's playing. But I'm slight lean Lillard over McCollum at this point. Um, Interesting here, Derek Jones Jr. and Robert Covington, especially Covington, gives me some interest. I think Covington's going to have the tough duty of guarding Zion. And so number one concern, though, is he has to stay out of foul trouble. And, Zion draws a lot of fouls going to the basket. But Covington's offensive game and the way he draws people out, I think, is going to hurt Zion. And that's why Zion's not one of my top plays in this game. I think he's going to lose some rebounds on, Covington pulling him away from the basket. And then Covington's defense, I really respect. And Covington's a dog, though. He'll play monster minutes. So I know Williamson will be highly owned. I want to go on the other side there with Covington at a much better price and see if he can put up one of his games where he's draining some threes and getting it done. And as Canner, I think, he's been so solid. He does go against here Steven Adams, so he's not going to have that thick body, bang guys out of the way type of advantage here. But Adams has slowed down a slight bit this year. I think he's getting older now, and I think he's lost a little bit of that pep or half a step or whatever you want to call it. And Canner's such a dog on the offensive glass. I think he can get some putbacks, tip-ins, and that kind of stuff. So Canner has the potential to make my lineup as well. So really, for me, it's more of a ball, the possibility of Brandon Ingram. I'm looking at him. He seems to be heating up as of late. Lillard and then Covington on that side. So probably going to come out of this game with 2 or 3 guys without question, and a nice chunk of my salary as well. Couple things to mention real quick. We have some huge announcements this weekend. They're already posted on our website and in our Discord, but we have some fantastic new partnerships that are sponsoring our podcasts, along with our partners, of course, at BetUS. We also have now Monkey Knife Fight. We're really excited for that partnership. Super Draft as well, being 2 main sponsors. And then we have some other medium-sized sponsors, if you will, partners that are doing a few promos with us. We'll be announcing all of them, but very excited about the new relationship with Monkey Knife Fight and Super Draft. Okay, we are going to hit this last game and make this fairly quick today, being solo. Andrew will be back for the Friday night card with me. So actually, I'm going to take tomorrow night off as far as the podcast goes. Let Andrew do that on his own. He's had some great success doing that. And then I'm back with you for the entire weekend. So I will be posting lineups for our members, though, all throughout. So no worries there. Okay. The Hornets, they're 20-19. Definitely the surprise team in the East. Nobody saw that coming. The Lakers, 27-13. You've got the Lakers an 8-point favorite at home. The total of very respectable 224.5. Nobody's on a back-to-back here, so even score there. Pace, 12th for Charlotte, 18th for the Lakers. Defensively, Charlotte not getting it done in 22nd. And they got murdered last night, by the way, and that really hurt because Denver just killed them. And the Lakers are first. So where do we go in this game? We're going with Lonzo Ball. Are we going to look at LaMelo Ball? But that's possible. LaMelo's price is a lot more than Lonzo's, so it's a little concern there. And Lakers being the number one defense, you've got to respect that. But the probable lineups are normal: Ball, Rozier, Hayward, Washington, and Zeller. And then on the Lakers side, Schroeder, Caldwell Pope, LeBron, Markieff Morris, not to be confused with Marcus Morris, his twin, and Damian Jones. the new guy that everybody's barking about. Who's Damian Jones? Damian Jones has been around a while. He's their plug-in guy until they trade for a center. I'm convinced that they're going to go out there and get a veteran center that can do exactly what Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee did for them last year, is give them that defensive presence in the playoffs and experience that helped them win it. So keep an eye on that. We're also in the last week here. I think four days left or so of trade deadline. So expect a lot of movement through this weekend for sure with these trade possibilities coming down. Okay, what do we like here? Really from the Charlotte side, the guy that has stepped up consistently lately is Rozier, but I'm still nervous with Devontae Graham, Ball, Rozier, and Hayward all getting a lot of minutes. It sours the pot for me as far as anybody being able to take over a game. And, you're playing the number one defense. So I'm not really looking to go there at all. I'm not a PJ Washington believer either. I know he had that one ridiculous outlier game, but he has a tendency to get in foul trouble. And I don't like inconsistencies when I'm putting together my cash lineup. So that bothers me. Cody Zeller, always a cheap center option, but you're only going to get 22 minutes maybe because they're going to use Biyombo, they're going to use Washington there as well. But certainly, if you're looking to just be value at center, he generally will get you close to 5x with his limited minutes. On the Lakers side, definitely some interest there. I like Dennis Schroeder in this matchup. I think this is the kind of game he really can step up and really play second banana to LeBron. With a lot of these guys out, there has been games where Schroeder stepped up, and it's generally when they're playing against teams without great D. So, the question with Schroeder is, if he gets Ball defense, he's going to completely smash. If he gets Rozier defense, it could be a little bit tough. But again, with that rotation of guards and the way that Charlotte substitutes, I think Schroeder's going to get enough open spaces here against Ball or, any of their backup guards, the Martin twins also. So it'll be, I think, a decent game for him. LeBron, how can he not be in play in a game like this where they're going to need him to do well with a lot of guys out? LeBron certainly could be your pay up spot today. I mean, we don't have a ton of them. A lot of the big guys, the Lukas and Jokers and all these guys are not on the slate. So I think you're going to see LeBron be very highly owned. And that's the question is, do you want to go there and hang and get it late, or do you want to load up more early with guys like Mitchell, Beal, Trae Young, those kind of guys, Ingram? We've mentioned some guys, also Cat in play possibly. There's a lot, there is some, but it's not the normal superstars. We don't have to decide between LeBron and Harden and Luka and et cetera. So, it almost makes you need to play LeBron. And my reasoning is this. No, I don't like playing dead chalk. And you guys know, if you see my cash lineups, they are not super chalky, but there generally is one, maybe two at the most guys on each slate that I just feel I have to roster, not just because I have a cash lineup, but sometimes you have to eat the chalk like that as a blocker. Because if I'm playing cash games and 65, 70% of the people I'm playing against are using LeBron, and I don't have LeBron and he has a really good game, it's going to pass me by. And I can't really afford to do that. Whereas if LeBron just has an average game, not that great, it doesn't crush me because, like I say, 70% or whatever the other people are going to have him. So, you got to look at those things and strategize them as you're building your lineup. And therefore, LeBron has a very good chance of making my lineup for sure. Now, I will play a GPP where I don't include him so that if, I can hopefully hit on somebody that's lesser owned that pops. But he just feels like a necessity to me tonight as a chalk guy that you don't want to, be behind that and have to and try to, hang on at the end in that late game. So that's definitely the spot I like on that side, along with Schroeder. I think you can have some ownership in this game. It won't be my highest owned game. I'm still going to focus on New Orleans, Portland for that, and a little bit of Oklahoma City, Atlanta also. So that is it, my friends. Those are the 6 games. Very excited about tonight's slate. Think it could, I like not having a million stars playing. It allows you to make some unique lineups, but some smart lineups. So again, check us out at DFS Coach Talk. We have some great deals going. Please take this minute on the way out to hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, hit and click the little alarm that reminds you when our podcasts are posted. We have our PGA going now. You'll get lineups for the weekend on PGA on Friday night, along with all our NBA coverage. MLB coverage is coming up in a couple, 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. Can't wait for that. That's going to be an absolute blast also. So, a lot of things happening here at Coach Talk. Great time to jump on. We're red hot, so we would absolutely love to have you. So really appreciate it. Thank you for your time today. And tomorrow's podcast will be with Andrew for the NBA, and then I'll be around all weekend for the NBA and also probably talk a little PGA as well. So thank you. Have a tremendous day, and hopefully not many of you out there are so hungover today that you're having to listen to this too late from drinking all the green beer. I know that's not as big of a thing down here in Texas, but when I was born and raised up in the Northeast in Pennsylvania, and we did some partying on St. Patrick's Day. I mean, it's a big deal up there. So I know we have listeners all over the world, actually. Great shout out to our members in Australia, France. We now have some momentum there. And of course, our Canadian friends, some of our top folks up there with Jay Marax and JP Wild and all those guys. So hello to everybody. Let's keep this hot streak going, and really appreciate you. So have a great day. Stay safe out there, and we'll look for you again tomorrow when we crush it in DFS.